Slow progress is still progress. Growth is quiet. Wins come one step at a time. Look, most people out here chasing big moves, big wins, instant recognition. They want it all overnight, and when it don't happen, they quit. But check this, slow progress is still progress. Every step you take, even if it feels small, even if nobody notices, it counts. Growth ain't always flashy. It ain't always loud. Most of the time, it's quiet, it's subtle, and it's happening in ways you can't even see yet. You gotta learn to respect the process, to trust the grind, and to understand that the movement you're making today is stacking up for the results tomorrow. That's where real winners separate from the dreamers. They trust the journey even when the speed feels slow. See life as a marathon, not a sprint. People get discouraged because they're measuring their progress against someone else's highlight reel. They're looking at the success of others and thinking they're behind. But your journey ain't theirs. Your pace ain't theirs. The truth is, slow progress is building something real, something that lasts. Every small win, every disciplined step, every moment you resist quitting, it all adds up. It's like compounding in the bank. Today might not feel like much, but over time, the quiet work multiplies into results that can't be ignored. The challenge is patience. Patience is rare. Most people want instant gratification, instant proof that they're moving, instant validation that they're winning. But the people who last, the ones who leave legacies, they embrace the slow grind. They understand that every day they put in work, even when it ain't visible, even when nobody acknowledges, it's all a deposit in their future. They measure their success by consistency, by resilience, by how they handle the struggle, not by the applause they get in the moment. That's why slow progress matters. That's why it's powerful. Because it teaches you endurance. It teaches you discipline. It teaches you how to keep showing up when the journey feels long. Look, the small steps you're taking today are teaching you more than just skill. They're teaching you character. They're teaching you patience, focus, and persistence. Most people don't realize that these qualities built quietly over time are what separate the temporary winners from the permanent ones. You might feel frustrated because you ain't where you want to be yet. But every step, every effort, every sacrifice is moving you closer to your vision. You just got to trust it and keep stacking. And let me tell you something else. The quiet growth is powerful because it can't be rushed. You can't force it. You can't take shortcuts. The people who try to skip steps, who chase hype or instant success, they often crash before they reach their potential. But the ones who embrace the slow progress, they build the foundation first. They strengthen themselves, their skills, their mindset, and their discipline before stepping into the spotlight. That's why slow, steady progress is safer, stronger, and more sustainable. That's why it's the type of growth that lasts. Most people get impatient because they only see results when it's flashy. But real growth, the kind that sticks, the kind that builds legacies, it's quiet. It's in the repetition, the daily effort, the discipline, the resilience. It's in choosing to show up when you're tired, when you're doubting, when it feels like nobody noticed. That's the work that matters. That's the foundation. That's the power of slow progress. Because by the time the world sees your results, you already built yourself into something unshakable. And let's be honest, slow progress builds confidence in a different way. You learn to trust yourself. You learn to rely on your own consistency, your own discipline, your own vision. You ain't waiting for others to validate you because you see the progress yourself, even if it's quiet, even if it's subtle. That internal validation, that self-trust, is more powerful than applause. It's permanent. It keeps you moving when the hype fades, when the attention fades, when the world stops noticing. That's what slow progress teaches. You can't depend on others to measure your worth or your success. Remember, the journey is just as important as the destination. Slow growth forces you to understand the process, to embrace the struggle, to learn from the small wins and the small losses. It makes you resilient. It makes you disciplined. It makes you prepared for the bigger challenges, the bigger opportunities, the bigger stages. Those who chase fast results often crumble when the first real test comes. But those who respect the slow climb, they endure, they adapt, they dominate. Every step, no matter how small, is a victory. Every effort, no matter how quiet, is progress. Every day you show up, every choice you make to move forward, even when it feels slow, is building momentum, and momentum compounds. Today's small wins are tomorrow's breakthroughs. The quiet work is the foundation that holds up the future success you're building. That's why slow progress is still progress. That's why patience, discipline, and consistency are your strongest tools. You got to trust yourself. Trust the process. Trust that every small, intentional step is moving you closer to the life you envision. Growth may be quiet, but it's powerful. Progress may feel slow, but it's real. And over time, the steps you're taking today, no matter how small, become the legacy you leave tomorrow. Slow progress is still progress, and every step counts. Look, most people out here thinking that growth has to be loud, has to be visible, has to come in big leaps. They watch other people. They see highlight reels, they see the flashy wins, and they feel like they're behind. But the truth is, real growth don't announce itself every day. It moves quietly, steadily, and often in ways you can't even see yet. Every small step you take, every disciplined action you make, every moment you push through even when it feels like nothing changing, that's growth. You just gotta learn to trust the process, to trust the journey, and to trust yourself to keep moving forward. Consistency over speed, that's the real power most people miss. Everyone out here chasing fast results, instant gratification, and flashy wins, thinking that if it ain't immediate, it ain't worth it. But the truth is, real success is built quietly, steadily, and deliberately over time. Slow progress teaches you discipline because it forces you to show up even when the results don't feel immediate, even when nobody notices, and even when the journey feels long. Every day you keep pushing, every step you take with intention, you're stacking momentum that can't be rushed, can't be bought, and can't be fakey. Consistency over speed means learning to respect the process, understanding that small, repeated actions over time create massive results. Most people get frustrated because they ain't seeing the outcome yet. They think effort is supposed to look like immediate success, like overnight transformation. But real growth is invisible at first. It's in the habits you form, the discipline you build, and the mindset you cultivate. Each day of showing up, even if it feels minor, is progress, because progress isn't always measured in big leaps. It's measured in steady steps in learning and refining and improving a little bit each day. The power of slow, consistent progress also lies in endurance. Life will test you. It will challenge you. It will throw delays, setbacks, and obstacles in your way. Most people fold when the pace feels slow, when the results ain't immediate, when the grind feels hard. But those who value consistency, they endure. They understand that long-term success ain't about how fast you move today. It's about how reliably you keep moving tomorrow, next week, next month, and years from now. Slow progress builds stamina, patience, and resilience, qualities that speed alone can't teach. Consistency over speed also teaches mastery. When you take your time, when you focus on steady improvement, rather than instant recognition, you begin to learn the craft at a deeper level. You pay attention to details that others overlook. You refine your skills. You develop an understanding of your work, your process, and your growth that can't be rushed. Most people chasing instant results skip the fundamentals, miss the small wins, and overlook the foundation. But those who embrace slow, deliberate growth build mastery, and mastery turns into unstoppable momentum over time. Another part of valuing consistency over speed is learning patience with yourself and with life. Impatience leads to frustration, rash decisions, and burnout. The people who last understand that the journey is longer than a single moment or a single win. They learn to trust themselves, to trust their process, and to trust the daily actions that might feel invisible. Over time, the patience developed through consistent effort becomes a form of strength, allowing them to navigate challenges calmly, respond thoughtfully, and make strategic moves when the opportunity arrives. Consistency also teaches self-reliance. When you rely on speed, on hype, on recognition, you tether your confidence to outside forces. But when you commit to showing up daily, even when it's quiet, even when it feels slow, you build internal trust. You learn that your effort, your discipline, and your commitment are what drive results. Not applause, not external validation, not luck. That self-reliance becomes unshakable. You start measuring your progress by your own consistency, not by the attention or recognition of others. Slow, consistent progress is also about compounding. Each small action might feel minor, insignificant even, but when repeated daily, it multiplies. Habits compound, skills compound, discipline compounds, and eventually, the momentum becomes unstoppable. The key is not to get discouraged by the time it takes, not to measure today by yesterday, or compare your beginning to someone else's middle. The compound effect only works if you stay consistent, and slow progress teaches you exactly how to cultivate that consistency over time. When you prioritize consistency over speed, you also develop resilience against setbacks. Fast results can be fleeting, and those who chase instant wins are often the first to crumble when life throws a challenge. But those who focus on steady, deliberate progress, they weather the storms. They recover from losses, adapt to challenges, and keep moving forward. They understand that setbacks are part of the journey, that progress isn't always linear, and that long-term gains outweigh short-term frustrations. That mindset allows them to stay focused, disciplined, and determined when others fall off. Consistency also builds confidence in a unique way. Each day you show up, each step you take, each small improvement you make becomes proof that you're capable of growth, capable of effort, capable of creating results over time. That internal proof is stronger than any external validation. It keeps you moving when the spotlight fades, when attention dwindles, and when life gets quiet. You don't need recognition because you trust the process, you trust your consistency, and you trust yourself. Finally, understanding that slow progress is still progress shifts your perspective on life. You stop chasing speed, you stop chasing instant gratification, and you start focusing on what really matters: consistent action, incremental improvement, and long-term growth. You realize that real success isn't about a single leap or a flashy moment. It's about the cumulative effect of disciplined, intentional, and persistent effort over time. That's how ordinary actions become extraordinary results, how small wins add up to monumental achievements, and how slow progress becomes unstoppable momentum. Trusting the process means understanding that progress isn't always instant, that results don't always show up right away, and that success is built on a foundation of daily effort that compounds over time. People get frustrated because they ain't seeing the immediate payoff. They want the applause, the recognition, the instant proof that they're winning. But growth ain't about the spotlight. It's about the quiet work, the repeated actions, the consistent steps that stack up over time into momentum you can't ignore. Each day you show up, each day you grind, each day you choose discipline over distraction. You are building yourself into something stronger, smarter, and more capable than you were yesterday. Think about it like planting a seed. You put in the water, the soil, the sunlight. You nurture it every day, but it don't pop up overnight. It takes time for roots to grow, for shoots to appear, for the plant to rise out of the dirt. Most people get discouraged because they ain't see the growth yet. They give up too soon. But those who trust the process, they understand that every day of care, every small action, every bit of attention to the details, it's all part of the journey. Slow progress is still progress because the roots are growing, even if the results ain't visible yet. Trusting the process also teaches patience. Patience ain't something most people naturally have. They want instant results, instant recognition, instant proof that they're winning. But the people who master patience, they endure, they stay committed, they keep moving, even when it feels like nothing happening. They know that every step, no matter how small, is pushing them closer to their vision. Every day they show up, every action they take, it compounds. Over time, that patient effort creates results that can't be rushed, results that are stronger, deeper, and more permanent than anything that comes fast. And trust the process doesn't mean you passive. It means you disciplined. It means you intentional. It means you taking consistent, focused action even when it feels slow. The people who trust the process don't sit around waiting for magic. They work. They learn, they adjust, they adapt. They do the daily work that others overlook, ignore, or get tired of. That's how momentum builds. That's how consistency becomes unstoppable. That's how slow, quiet growth eventually turns into visible, undeniable success. Another part of trusting the process is understanding that setbacks and challenges are part of it. The journey ain't always smooth. You're going to face obstacles, delays, distractions, and moments where it feels like the world against you. Most people see those moments as signs to quit, but the people who trust the process, they see them as part of the climb. They understand that challenges are opportunities to strengthen, to learn, to grow. Every obstacle overcome, every challenge faced, every setback navigated is proof that you're moving forward, proof that the process is working, even if it don't feel like it in the moment. When you trust the process, you start valuing consistency over speed. You stop comparing yourself to others who might be getting quick wins or attention. You understand that your journey is yours, your pace is yours, and the steps you take today are building the foundation for long-term success. The quiet victories, the small improvements, the tiny wins, the incremental progress, they matter. They add up, they build momentum. And eventually the compound effect of your daily effort shows up in ways that nobody can deny. Trusting the process also builds resilience. Every day you put in work. Even when it's hard, even when it feels slow, you're proving to yourself that you're capable of pushing through. You're developing patience, discipline, and mental toughness. You start learning that your growth don't depend on motivation, on recognition, on applause. It depends on your own commitment, your own actions, and your ability to keep showing up. That's real strength. That's how ordinary people turn into leaders. That's how consistent effort turns into extraordinary results. And over time, trusting the process changes how you see yourself. You stop chasing instant validation. You stop needing others to recognize your effort. You start relying on yourself. You see the progress, even when it's subtle, even when it's quiet, even when nobody else notices. That self-trust, that confidence in your own journey becomes unshakable. It keeps you moving when the attention fades, when the hype is gone, when the world stops noticing. You know that every small step matters, every day counts, and every effort is pushing you closer to your goals. Slow progress is still progress because it builds more than just results. It builds discipline. It builds character. It builds patience, resilience, and trust in yourself. The visible wins might come later, but the foundation you're building now is what will hold up your success when it arrives. Every small action compounds. Every disciplined choice stacks. Every day of showing up adds to the momentum. That's why trusting the process matters. That slow growth matters. That's why the quiet work matters more than any flashy win.